Hey fellas. So, this past weekend, drafting was kind of weird. The FLGS didn't have a Thursday night draft because he was closed for, because he couldn't reliably get a shipment in because of the holiday, 4th of July. Yay! anyways, anyways, um, so we drafted twice on Friday night. And I don't know if it was a lack of product or what, but someone decided that instead of drafting like triple Avacyn or something, we were going to draft Innistrad Dark Ascension Avacyn Restored. And I'm like, okay, sure, why not? I mean, one of the things I don't like about Avacyn Restored is not that it's a slower environment. I don't mind that. What I mind is the fact that there isn't enough good removal in it. At least that's my opinion. I've heard some people complain about that there wasn't any good removal in Dark Ascension. And people say that, and I'm like, are you out of your gourd? There was some good removal in Dark Ascension. I don't care. Anyways, so this is what we did. So that's what we did. First draft, I had this, I believe this was my first draft deck. Yeah. I had this blue-green thing. Look at what I got here. I got in blue, I got a Spectral Prison, Into the Void, Murder of Crows, Moon Heron, Scab Goliath, and Soul Caesar. So I've got, you know, like Lockdown, Bounce, couple of Flyers, Beef, Creature Stealer. Most of these didn't come up that often. But I gotta say, Into the Void won me at least a game. Avacyn's Collar didn't come up very often. Butcher's Cleaver ended up winning me a game. Shimmering Grotto I'm running in here for mana fixing. Look at my stuff. Also in the deck I had a Wolfear Avenger, which I ended up kicking into the prize pool. Didn't get it back. That was in green. He was just like redonkulous. Speaking of which, in green, pack 1, pick 1 was Wolfear Avenger. Pick 2, I believe, was the Druid Familiar. Whoops. So that was pretty funky. That was pretty funky. Got a Strangleroot Geist, a Nettle Swine, a Festerhide Boar, a Hollow Henge Beast. Boneyard Worm was kind of fun. He was kind of fun. Villages of Eswold and Grizzled Outcasts. Grizzled Outcasts never really came up well. Wild Hunger, Hunger of the Howl Pack, both nice. The only way I had to play the flashback on Wild Hunger was with the Shimmering Grotto. Oh, speaking of which, that reminds me, one other rare I forgot about. The Alchemist Refuge. Taps for colorless. It's a land. You can pay blue, green, and tap it, and until end of turn you can play creatures as though they had flash. It's kind of nice. I picked it up, I threw it in the deck. It never really came in handy. Every time I've grabbed it when it was in color, I just like grabbed it and said, I'll toss it in, we'll see what happens. And generally what happens is it's never relevant. Which is sad, because it's got so much potential for what it does, you know? Make-A-Wish actually came up as really funny relevant in a way, once. I also got 3 fog effects, a Moon Mist, a Clinging Mist, and a Terrifying Presence. I might have mentioned this in last week's video. Terrifying Presence is actually kind of funny because it's a target effect. Prevent all combat damage except for that done by target creature. Well, other than by target creature, blah 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 blah. The thing with that, of course, is a bounce spell can counter Terrifying Presence. Because if you bounce the targeted creature, hey, guess what happens? The Terrifying Presence fails to resolve, because all of its targets are gone. Coincidentally, I ended up using Terrifying Presence and targeting some of my opponent's creatures when I knew he was using Bounce at one point. And I generally target like his most powerful creature on the board, and people come up and look and they're like, well, why are you doing that? And I'm like, because I know he's not going to bounce that. And they just sit there like, yeah, you got a point. Because if you bounce the creature, then all of his other creatures that he's swinging with combined won't be doing as much damage as his most powerful. So yeah, yeah. The deck did all right. I came in like somewhere in the middle with it. Didn't do as good as I had hoped it would, but oh well. One of the fun things once is at one point I had a Wild Hunger and Terrifying Presence in the graveyard. They were the only cards I had in the graveyard, and I dropped Make a Wish. I got them both back. It was kind of fun. My opponent's just sitting there like, really? You're kidding me. Yeah. So like I said, that was that. As a keeper, now I thought the Wolfie Revenger, when I opened him up, I thought he was going to end up being my keeper, and I was wrong, because then in pack 2, I opened up a Thalia. Yay, Foily! So, she ended up being my keeper. Dropping stuff here. Also from the prize pool, I snapped up a Dark Imposter, Heretic's Punishment, and Sturmgeist. Nothing too amazing on that. Let me get this this stuff put away real quick. I'll show you my sideboard, which was utterly unimpressive. Okay, sideboard. Flowering Lumberknot, Grim Flowering, Grave Bramble, nothing special. Nothing special. A pair of Dread Waters, who cares? If you're not going heavy mill, Dread Waters is pretty useless. Vanguard Shield, I don't think I've ever seen anyone play it. Red, I ended up like snapping up a Ancient Grudge, Afflicted Deserter, and I think I hate drafted both the Rack with Madness and into the Maw of Hell, because they can do mean things. They can do mean things. Black, I think I was toying with black at one point in time. I ended up snapping up a Skursdag Flare, Brave Purge, a Falconwrath Torture, a Marrow Bats, and a Barter in Blood. Barter in Blood's just a nice little removal card. Marrow Bats, in and of itself, it's not great. But the thing with Marrow Bats, though, is the fact that they're insane with Homicidal Seclusions. I mean, just with one Homicidal Seclusion on the board, Marrow Bats turns into a 7/2 flying, 7/2 flyer that regenerates for 4 life. It's like, go ahead, throw something in front of it. Does it have first strike? No? Okay, I pay 4 life, regenerate Marrow Bats, and I gain 7 with combat damage. Shazam. Shazam. Geez, so let's try and get this second deck out real quick. Oh hey, yeah, first deck also had a Conjurer's Closet in sideboard. I kicked that into the prize pool, didn't get it back. Okay, so now this deck. Pack 1, if I recall correctly, pack 1, I ended up starting off pretty much in like, I want to say pack 1 I started off mostly in black. Yeah, because pack 1, oops, pack 1 I opened up a pack 1? No, that was in pack 2 I opened that up. I don't even remember what I opened in pack 1 anymore. But, yeah, but when I opened up pack 2, I first, like, I already had some black, I was thinking maybe I was going to end up going. It was wasn't really 100% certain yet. And but anyway, second pack, I open up like the Fiend of Shadows, the 3/3 flying vampire. Sack a human to regenerate it. If it deals combat damage to a player, to an opponent, that player exiles a card from their hand. I may cast that card as though it were in my hand. That's pretty saucy. And then like I get past a stronger Kirk Captain. I'm like, okay, I think I'm going black-red. Right? So I have the Stromkirk Captain, Cobbled Wings, which really did come in relevant very often. Grave Purge was largely in there just for card drawing. Never used it to recur a creature. Never. Deathwind, removal. Necrobite, Ghetto, removal. Deadweight, removal. Bone Splinters, removal. Which of course combined with, you know, removal combined with Evernight Shade, who's got Undying. Nice. Soul Cage Fiend. When he hits the graveyard, everyone loses 3 life. Nice. Vengeful Vampire, who's a 3/2 flyer with Undying. Nice. That when it came to the Soul Cage Fiend and the Shade, the Vengeful Vampire, I also had a pair of Falconwrath Torturers, 2/1. Sack a creature to give him flying till end of turn. If the sacked creature was a human, he gets a +1/+1 counter. What else did I have in here? Night Terrors was a nice little discard effect. Appetite for Brains is a nice discard spell, but unfortunately, every time I played it, without fail, my opponent had nothing that I could make him discard. You dirty son of a... But it happens. Predator's Gambit is a reasonably solid pump spell. Skeletal Grimace is a reasonably solid pump spell. Altar's Reap isn't bad when you have creatures with Undying, so that worked out okay. Over here in red, I've got a Kessig Wolf, Fires of Undeath, a Blasphemous Act, which never hit my hand. It was also my keeper. A Faithless Looting. I was also running a Cruin Outlaw in the deck. The Coulson Double Red for a 2/2 first striker werewolf. That when she transforms, she turns into a 3/3 double striker. And werewolves you control must be blocked by at least 2 creatures if they're going to be blocked. And that was pretty much the deck. And the deck did okay, but round 3 I had some great games, and unfortunately at the end of round 3 I lost, and I got totally screwed over on tiebreaker points. I ended up coming in like next to last, which didn't please me. I mean, I was really happy about getting, having some really good games, but on the other side of the coin, it really sucks when you have good games and you have fun, but then at the end of the night, you had good games, you had tough matches, you did your best, you took your lumps, and then at the end it's just like, oh, I'm next to last. I get crap for prizes. I'll talk about that more in a second. Sideboard. Ghoul Caller's Chant. At first it was in the deck. I pulled it for something else. Don't remember what. I think I pulled it out to throw in the Appetite for Brains, and I never swapped it back. I probably should have, I'm thinking. Joint Assault and Druid's Familiar. Wasn't certain if I was going to go green when I picked those, so oh well. At the very least, I screwed over someone who was playing green. Scroll of Avacyn and Avacyn's Collar. They're alright. They're nice filler cards. Red, I had Towns of Falconwrath and Infernal Plunge and 2 Riot Devils as filler cards. One of the things that was kind of, I guess, irksome in a way is the fact that I only had like 1 card in the deck that counted as human, when like so much of my other stuff in the deck was like 3 of my vampires had synergy with humans. Haunted Fengraph, I decided not to run it. Silver Claw Griffin, Curse of Exhaustion, Throbbing Sentry. Whatever. I'll be perfectly honest, the Griffin was the only one I actually hate drafted out of those, simply on account of the fact I didn't like the idea of my opponents having a first strike flyer. Because that's bad. Blue, I did have some solid blue. I mean, there's a Mistraven, Alchemist Apprentice, Deranged Assistant, Ghostly Touch, Divination. Outwit's kind of a crappy card, at least in draft. Prize pool. I picked up a foil promo Bone Splitter that the shopkeep tossed into the prize pool, and I picked up a Cruin Outlaw that that and like something silly from one of my trade binders, and I traded that for a Pure Steel Paladin. Yay! And that's that. Gonna see about getting this video up today. I'm gonna make the video today, but I don't know if I'm gonna post it today or tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, I went to M13 pre-release, guys. Yeah. And the sad part is you know, the pack that I got her in, there was other good stuff in that pack too. Oh yeah. So so there's a heads up on that, right, fellas? So I'm gonna put all this aside, and I'll probably get started on making that video. We'll see what happens here. In the meantime, hasta luego or whatever and stuff and junk. Catch you kids later. Be good.